All right, Unit 5, Lesson 7, multiplying and dividing integer application problems. So I can solve problems that involve multiplying and dividing rational numbers. Remember, rational numbers are positive and negative numbers that include fractions, decimals, and whole numbers. So it says, a weather station at the top of a mountain reports that the temperature is currently 0 degrees and has been falling at a constant rate of 3 degrees per hour. So every hour it falls 3 degrees. So that's going to be a -3 for sure. So find each temperature and explain or show your reasoning. So if it continues to fall at this rate, what will be the temperature in 2 hours? Well, it would be 2 times -3, which is going to give me -6 degrees Celsius, because I have a positive and a negative, so it's going to make my answer negative. 5 hours, so that'd be 5 times -3 is going to give me -15 degrees Celsius. So half of an hour, so that'd be 1/2 times -3, so that would be 1.5 degrees Celsius, and it's going to be negative because I have a positive and a negative. Or you could tell me 1.5, whatever. Then it says, what was the temperature an hour ago? So we're going backwards. So the temperature is currently 3, so an hour ago, the temperature is now 0, so an hour ago, if we're falling -3, and we keep falling, that would mean that it's 3 degrees Celsius, and it's positive. 3 hours ago, it would be, so that'd be 6 degrees Celsius, and then that would be 9 degrees Celsius, right? Because that would be 1, 2, 3 hours. So that would be, so this first one would be 3 degrees Celsius. The next one would be 9 degrees Celsius. 4.5 hours ago. Jeez Louise. So that's going to be another, so that'd be 12 degrees Celsius. So that's 1, 2, 3, that's 4 hours. And then a half, so we figured out a half was 1.5. So that's 12 plus 1.5. So it'd be 13.5 degrees Celsius. All right, so now this one says, a water well is drilling a rig and has dug a hole to a height of -60 feet after 1 full day of continuous use. So up where I live, they mine and drill down. I know in some of the southern states, they drill in the ocean. In a lot of the northern states, they're drilling or mining underground for natural resources. So it says, assuming that the rig drilled at a constant rate, what was the height of the drill after 15 hours? Okay, so I know that it dug after 1 full day of continuous use. So 15 hours. Well, it's not really giving me any information right here about what's going on, so I'm going to look it up and make sure I didn't make a typo in the question, because that could totally happen, because they didn't tell us. I'm wondering if it's -60 feet per hour, but let's look. So when you're digging, you're at a constant speed. That means they're not hitting any rock, they're not having to change any drill bits, they're not having to do anything. It is just smooth sailing. They're doing great. Okay, so I want you to think about this. This is the perfect world. So let's see if I can find it. Okay, so what they're saying is they want us to use the hours. So it's right, I guess. Okay, so 1 full day would be 24 hours. I don't think about it that way, but that makes sense. Okay, so they want to know what was the drill height after 15 hours. So if I have my, my table and I have hours and feet, right? I know in 24 hours it went negative 60 feet. So I want to figure out what it's going to be in 1. So I'm going to divide by 24. And at this point, I'm going to say use your calculator. Otherwise, we're never going to get through this problem. So 60 divided by 24 gives me 2.5 feet per hour. And it's going down 2.5 feet per hour. So in 15 hours, so we're going to multiply by 15. Multiply by 15. So on this side, we're multiplying by 15. We get 37.5 feet, and that's going to be negative because a negative times a positive is going to be a negative. So what was the height? Negative 37.5 feet. So then it says the rig has been running constantly and is currently at a height of negative 147.5 feet. How long has the rig been running? Well, we can use what we already know. So we have feet and we have hours. We know that it does negative 2.5 feet in 1 hour. And we know that we have negative negative 147.5 feet, right? So we're going to divide going this way to figure out what our factor is. So 147.5 divided by 2.5 gives me 59. So I'm going to multiply by 59. So that would be 59 hours. So how long has it been running? 59 hours. Doesn't seem like it's going very far, but you got to think about how much it's got to get through. So at this rate, how many hours will it take the drill to reach negative 250 feet? Well, I have negative 2.5 and it's feet. And I know that's in 1 hour. And I want to figure out negative 250. I'm going to divide going that way. So 250 divided by 2.5 is 100. So when I multiply by 100, I get 100 hours. So it's going to take 100 hours. All right, let's take a look at the next one. It says a submarine is only allowed to change its depth by rising towards the surface in 60-meter stages. So the reason they can't come up so quickly is because of the cabin pressure inside of the submarine. So when a submarine goes down, it has to lower at stages and then it rises at stages. I don't know if you've ever seen in a TV show, but a hyperbolic chamber, which is they found that dropping you below sea level increases your healing process. So, but they have to do that in stages as well. So it says, what is the depth after one stage? So right now it's at negative 340, right? So I want to figure out what it's going to be at after the first stage. So I have negative 340 and I'm going to add 60. So I'm going to increase it by 60. So I know that when the signs are different, I'm going to subtract. So I end up with 280, and it's still at negative 280 feet, or meters, right? So after 2 stages, we're at negative 280, so that's after 1 stage. So we're going to add another 60 feet because it's trying to go up, right? It's rising towards the surface. So I subtract again, and I'm going to end up at negative 220 meters. Now after 4 stages, so now we're doubling up. So negative 220 plus, so 2 more stages would be 120. So the signs are different, so I'm going to subtract again, and I'm still 100 meters below sea level. So how many stages will it take to get to the surface? Well, we're at 4 stages now. So a 5th stage is going to get us to negative 40. So we're actually going to need one more stage to get us all the way up. So 6 stages. Okay. So now they want us to complete the table using what we know. So if I have a negative a, so I have a negative 1/2. So negative 1/2. So a negative and a negative make a positive. So I have a positive 1/2. So a negative 4b. So that's negative 4 times 6. So that'd be a negative 24. Because when the signs are different, the answer is negative. So I have a negative 1/2 plus 6. So a negative times a negative is going to give me a positive. So it's a half plus 6. So I get 6 1/2. Okay, I've got a negative 1/2 divided by a negative 6/1. So that's a negative 1/2 times 1/6. So that's going to be 2 negatives is going to make a positive, so I have 1/12. All right, a squared, so that's negative 1/2 squared. So that's negative 1/2 times negative 1/2. So it's going to equal a positive 1/4. Because 2 negatives, when the signs are the same, the answer is going to be positive. So b to the 3rd power. So b was 6. So that's 6 times 6 times 6. So 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 6 is 216. And it's going to be positive because all those signs are positive. All right, so now we're going to do it all again, but we're going to use the new values. So we have a negative times 1/2, so it's going to give me a negative 1/2. A negative 4 times a negative 6 is going to give me a positive 24. A negative 1/2 plus a negative 6 is going to give me a negative 6 1/2, or 6 1/2. Okay, 1/2 divided by a negative 6. So a negative times a negative is going to give me a positive. So 1/2 times 1/6 is going to give me 1/12. All right. 1/2 times 1/2 is going to give me 1/4. And then negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6. Well, that's going to give me a negative, or that's going to give me a positive 36 times a negative 6 is going to give me negative 216. So I've always got to think about, okay, I've got to do it in parts. All right, so now they're switching it around and they're saying a negative 6. So a negative times a negative is going to give me a positive 6. So a negative 4 times a negative 1/2. So I end up with 4/2, which is going to give me 2, and the signs are the same, so it's positive 2. So we have a negative 6 plus a negative 1/2. Just keep checking to make sure I'm doing this right now that I'm getting confused. So 6 plus a negative 1/2. Well, when the signs are different, I have to subtract, so I end up with 5 1/2, and it's going to be positive. Okay, so now I've got negative 6 divided by negative 1/2. So that's negative 6 divided by 1/2. So that's negative 6/1 times 2/1. It's going to give me negative 12. All right, so now we have negative 6 times negative 6, and we end up with a positive 36. and then -1/2 times -1/2 times -1/2 is going to give me 1/4, because the signs are the same, so it's got to be positive, times -1/2 is going to leave me with -1/8. Man, that was a tough one. All right, so for your cool down today, you are going to tell me he's doing his homework. Do you agree with his answers? If you disagree, explain your reasoning. So which of these do you agree with? Which of these do you not agree with? Why or why not? Okay, so I want you to really think about if you've got decimals, like for example, this one, you want to change that into a decimal. So 3 divided by 5. Okay, so you want to think, what's happening? Do you agree with the signs? Did they do everything correctly? So now I understand, but I need more practice. So you're going to work on Khan Academy, Mr. Morgan's help video. You can do a study buddy, or you can make an appointment with me on Calendly. So I want you to kind of think about, you got to watch those rules. I mean, it's like you're going to want to have your anchor chart out and ready for you whenever you're working.